We're joined in conversation with Simon Pratt, former chief executive of the well-known Avoca brand. Simon, I think most Irish people know a lot about the Avoca story, and they certainly know the Avoca stores. You grew up with the business. You then became chief executive over time. How much of that growth in your own business style was down to hard work? You worked in the business from a very early age.
Yes, we did grow up with it. I suppose it was always in the background in summer holidays, summer work, from the age of about, I was kind of conscious of it, so from the age of about 15, 16. It wasn't in those days a business that you particularly were proud of, to be honest with you, because it was more in the kind of tourist end, and it didn't deliver anything in the way of street cred.
Was it always preordained then that you would work in the business?
No, it wasn't preordained at all. I mean, the business when we were growing up, it wouldn't have supported us for starters. So I did business and politics in Trinity, went to work for CTT as they were now.
The trade board.
Enterprise Ireland, the trade board, yeah, export board as they were then. After college, didn't really know what I wanted to do, enjoyed that. And my sister, who had also done an arts degree in Trinity, was in London. And we kind of said to each other, you know, would we go back at that stage? And if we were to go back to Ireland, would we get involved in the business? And we kind of jumped together.
The need for high quality direct customer service. How important is that level of detail to the customer in any business, do you believe?
I think it's incredibly important. And I think in retail, it's not like selling an airplane to somebody where you walk away and think, you know, we're going to drink champagne tonight, we sold them an airplane. In retail, you want them to come back. So it's not about the transaction today, can I sell you X? It's about, can I offer you something that is somewhere you're going to come back to again and again and again. So it's really almost a lifetime relationship where over years you might get thousands of sales. It's about building the brand, and the brand is really important to my mind in a business like ours because it's bigger than the sum of the parts. So the sum of the parts is one thing, but what the brand can become and the extension that the brand could become in the future, it was really obvious that became very key for us.
Would your advice be, though, and maybe Avoca did this, to use outside advisors or perhaps to have some sort of an independent board, just that outside viewpoint?
Yes, I think we didn't, and I think in hindsight you probably should. I think early on having some real clarity about everyone's roles, about expectation, about a meritocracy rather than just assuming there's a job for somebody just because your surname is X. We were always so informal as a family, as a company, that we never did that. And then we were probably so long at it that it didn't seem like the right thing to do for us. But yes, I think in hindsight, I would say clarity, but you do need to be flexible because things change. And someone who seems to be the right person today isn't necessarily tomorrow. And similarly, someone who doesn't quite get it today may get better, may really start to get it. And I think there's a lot more advice out there now in terms of family business associations that people are doing that. So yes, I would say that is good advice to get involved in formalising the family structures. But I think my parents, would say that having a family business to them and maybe didn't seem too important for the kids. And I'm talking about my generation as being the kids. It was lovely for them to have their kids around.
I suppose one of the key factors in somebody getting into business, particularly their own business, is their attitude to risk. What was yours?
I kind of got involved when it was more an established business. So it was more managing an enterprise and the evolution of that brand rather than being the person who was, I suppose in the true sense of the word, an entrepreneur from scratch. My own view of risk, though, I suppose, because my mother would have been very conservative, my father would be very a big risk taker. So in the way they were a good dynamic in the early days. I suppose I'd probably a little bit more level-headed than a classic entrepreneur. So I wouldn't be inclined to bet the farm on a single idea. But I also, I suppose, have again just developed in that business world where if you're not risking, if you're not pushing the envelope, you're just not doing anything. So I think I would be somewhere in the middle in terms of my appetite for risk. Yeah.
You've talked about the pressures of running Avoca as it got bigger and spread its wings. What's your advice to people who do enjoy that kind of success, but in terms of how they manage that kind of pressure, how they manage work-life balance?
Yeah, I think one of the keys really is to make sure you're surrounded by good people. And it's a cliche, but it's absolutely true. So have 10 great minds thinking about your business, align them with your interests, so potentially give them equity or something to give them profit share. And that way, those 10 minds are thinking about this business an awful lot. So the combination of everybody thinking and trying hard to put in the right direction, put in the same direction is I think, one of the keys, because you're not going to get all the right answers on your own.
Would you like your own kids to get involved in business?
Yes, I would. I mean, I have that thing. I always said that I was never a huge fan of school, or I don't think it's for everybody, the school system. And I think that people can feel, either a success or a failure based on whether they're good at academic achievement. And that's not a good measure for a lot of people. So I always promised myself with my own kids that I wouldn't push them in that way, but encourage them to find things that they love. And as I said earlier, if you're passionate about something and you really find it fun, you're going to spend enormous amounts of time working on it. And that, to my mind, is the key of getting good at anything. And oftentimes the rest will follow.
Simon Pratt, thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.